On paper, Supercar Street Challenge should have been every racing fan's dream. Full customization, exotic supercars, and iconic cities. Really, what's not to love? But sometimes a great idea doesn't always make a great game. And today we're going to take a long, hard look at Supercar Street Challenge for the PlayStation 2. A title full of promise that ultimately ran out of fuel. Welcome to the Worst Racing Games, the series where you guys suggest different racing games that you think are terrible, then I play them, review them, and rank them. And yes, today the sacred wheel of worst racing games has chosen Supercar Street Challenge. So first off, let's just cover a little bit of history about the game. So Supercar Street Challenge was developed by a company called Exact Entertainment. In fact, it was their first ever game, and is probably their most notable release because after Street Challenge they just went into the business of porting pre-existing games to different consoles, such as X-Men Next Dimension to the GameCube, Call of Duty World at War to the Wii, so on and so forth. The game was published by Activision and released across November 2001. So let's start with what this game gets right, at least on the surface. You've got some really cool cars available to you in this game. The Pagani Zonda C12, the Rinspeed Ego Rocket, the Lotus M220, and the Fioravanti F100, just to name a few. Now already that's an interesting mix of cars, but then if you toss in a global tour through some cool cities like LA, Rome, Monaco, then it sounds like a pretty promising time. Then add in a garage full of custom parts and the ability to create your own dream supercar and even tweak its performance stats, which sounds like a winning formula, right? But unfortunately this is where things start to fall apart. Now before we go any further, if you're a fan of racing games, or in this case, not so good racing games, then why not hit that subscribe button and tap the bell for notifications to stay up to date with the Worst Racing Games series. And whilst you're at it, if you want to be the first to hear about upcoming videos, or just come and chat about cool games, then join my Discord server using the link in the description below. Anyway, that's enough plugging the channel, let's get back to the game. So, Supercar Street Challenge uses a familiar arcade formula. Win races to unlock new tracks and upgrade your ride. Speed, handling, acceleration, and braking, you can customize it all. But here's the catch. It's just too easy. Most races can be won on the first try without even knowing the track. There's no need to master turns, find the perfect racing line, or even strategize. Which is good because I'm terrible at finding the racing line, or being good at racing. But when the game does get hard, it's not because of intelligent track design, it's because the developers just thought, hey, let's put some random objects in the middle of the track and see what happens. Tight archways, barriers, you hit one of those, it's pretty much game over, you'll just come to a full stop, forcing you to reverse awkwardly while the AI zooms by. That's not what I would class as difficulty, it's just stupid design. Mix that in with an AI that's unforgiving the further into the game you go, it doesn't really make for a fun time. It's the kind of AI that's completely set on sticking to its coded racing line. There's no deviation, no time for overtakes, they'll just smash you out the way without any remorse. And because they're designed to stay on that set line, if you hit into them or they hit into you, they feel incredibly heavier than you do. It does not matter what speed you're going versus them, you're going to be the one that loses that clash. But let's focus on something a bit more positive. One of the biggest hooks of Supercar Street Challenge is building your car. And yes, you can customize everything from spoilers and mirrors to headlights. There are a lot of options, and as you progress through the different championship cups, more options become available to you. In the end, I had some monstrosity that was half muscle car and half supercar, wide muscle car at the back, exotic supercar at the front. For a 2001 racing game, the customization is incredibly in-depth. It's very impressive. It's a unique feature that I think makes this game stand out even now. Now, no matter what parts you put on the car, it doesn't affect your performance because there's a separate stat screen for you to change. And again, as you progress through the cups, you'll get more points to spend on your stats, which is split into 4 different categories: speed, acceleration, brakes, and handling. For the most part, you can pretty much just evenly spread out your points across all 4 stat trees, and you'll pretty much be winning races left, right, and center. But later on into the game, it is fun to play around with the different stat trees to change your performance up. For example, when I got to Monaco with all the tight corners, I upped my braking and handling. When I changed onto a track with bigger straights, I changed my speed and acceleration. However, once you fully upgrade your custom car, which doesn't really take long, it'll easily outperform any of the licensed cars in the game. And if you ever feel like changing things up, just tweak the stats again, change the visuals. There's no need to start over or build a new car because you can just keep changing the original. It's a system that feels rewarding at first, but quickly becomes meaningless after the first few cups. The game's single player has a few different style of cups to partake in. You have the custom cup where you build the car and work your way through. There are the manufacturer cups, which give you a pre-existing set car for you to play with. And then there's the challenge mode, which gives you again a specific car and a specific set of conditions to work with. Playing through the design cup gives you more design options to unlock and more stats to put into your car, as well as new tracks to play with. Playing through the manufacturer cups gives you new cars to unlock and play with separately, and winning those 2 different kinds of cups unlocks challenge cups for you to play as well, which in turn unlocks you more cars. However, because it's so quick and easy to fully max out your custom car, it kind of makes unlocking all the standard cars pretty pointless, because you've already built something that's faster and better anyway. To its credit, the game doesn't look bad, especially for the early days of the PS2 era. The cars are slick, the reflections are decent, and you'll even get some nice weather effects. But then you look at the cities themselves, and realise they don't quite live up to their real-world counterparts. London, LA, Monaco, they all feel flat. Like generic tracks with a few themed buildings thrown in. It's not immersive, it's not believable, it's just kind of there. It's like they just googled a few landmarks and a few themed things and went, yeah, throw those in. Like in London, there's just a few police boxes scattered around, a few British road marks, and that's kind of it. They just called it a day. And considering the visuals are somewhat subpar, the frame rate isn't particularly stable either, with some fairly significant lag spikes depending on which track you're playing on, and dependent on the weather conditions. It's not unplayable at all, but sometimes it's really not smooth. Just a reference, there is also a PC version of the game, but I haven't played that one at all, but having done some research back when this released, the reviews state this also had some significant performance issues. Anyway, in terms of handling, this game is really all over the place. It's a very weird handling model that takes some getting used to. Cars vary from being oversensitive to feeling like a brick in a moment's notice, and it's quite hard to get used to. Upgrading your handling stat on your custom car does actually feel like it makes a difference, but it doesn't change the fact that the handling itself is just a bit awkward anyway, regardless of how many stats you pump into it. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, please comment the word Derek down below, because yes, that's what I named my ridiculous supercar. Now, if Supercar Street Challenge is going to cut corners in its visual design, hopefully it makes up for it in its sound design. Well, I'm here to tell you, unfortunately it doesn't deliver on that promise either. The engine sounds are flat, they're forgettable, there's no personality to them. Everything just kinda sounds the same, and the music, there's just a couple of generic techno loops that don't really change based on location, it's just all the same. If I'm going to be racing through iconic cities, I'd like to have music that sounds like it was made for those cities, not like I'm about to black out in a nightclub about 20 years ago. To be honest, Supercar Street Challenge really reminds me of a game we looked at a few episodes ago on Worst Racing Games, and that's Corvette Evolution GT, or just Evolution GT. It has some really cool ideas, but everything else just feels incredibly subpar. There's no real depth to the ideas put in. And much like I said with Corvette Evolution GT, that is really disappointing because it could have been so good. Anyway, Supercar Street Challenge also features a fairly subpar multiplayer mode, just one. It's a basic head-to-head split-screen race. It's better than nothing, but they could have done more with that. And outside of that, there's not really much else to say about the game. As I said, it's honestly just a shame. Supercar Street Challenge could have been a standout title. It had the cars, it had the cities, it had a good idea, but poor gameplay balance, shallow customization, bland audio and lackluster design drag it down into the realms of mediocrity. If you're a die-hard car enthusiast or a PS2 collector, it might be worth a quick spin, but if you're looking for a racing game that's fun, challenging and, well, replayable, there are far better roads to travel. But now the time has come where we have to rank Supercar Street Challenge on our worst racing games tier list. And for me, this game is just rubbish. Whilst Corvette Evolution GT wasn't that great, its ideas mixed with its okay handling still made for a somewhat okay time. Supercar Street Challenge has the good ideas, but the handling, the AI, the surroundings, it just makes for a much worse experience. And so that takes us to the end of our look at Supercar Street Challenge, and with it, this episode of Worst Racing Games. Have you played Supercar Street Challenge? Did you find more value in it than I did? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, if you have a suggestion for a game you want to see on the Worst Racing Games series, pop that in the comments as well. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe and tap that bell for notifications to stay up to date with the series. I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.